question, because we're running a little short on time, but how would you improve public transportation in Decatur?
Well, I think that's a big plus for Decatur. We have a great bus service. The city recently has several routes that run on Sunday. For over 5 years, I was pushing the city to go with even late night bus service, because a lot of the employers were telling the city, our people can't get to work the third shift. So one step that the city has done, and from what I've understood from the director of our transportation and bus service, that people just love this Sunday service that is offered, because if there's no taxi service in Decatur, unfortunately. Uber doesn't work that well in Decatur. So again, small steps and getting federal funds and grants helps the city expand their transportation. But we have a good transportation as far as the services, as far as the city goes right now, but it can always be improved.
Pat is right. We do have a good transportation system, and in the last couple of years, we've got brand new buses, brand new trolleys, and what we also got was a new director of transportation who is young and amazing, and she is taking a look at our routes. She is doing her very best to improve route services and open up new days of service. This council has always been willing to talk to our citizens about bus routes. For example, Richland came and said, hey, we don't have a bus that brings students out here. So the city made those changes. And we continue to work with our business and our citizens in Decatur to ensure that we can make routes that are easy for our citizens to use at times that they can use. There were some times when the bus line was closing down, people were still at work and didn't have a way home. So we made those changes. We've worked with GPS 61 when it comes to buses and to ensure that we can get kids to school when they can't find bus drivers. And so I am pleased with what we are doing with transportation, but we are not done yet. We know we still have work to do.
Well, I'm really excited about our transportation department. First of all, we bought the old Tommy House Tire Company, which we are transforming in for the future. And it's to be ready for electric buses. And then we will start every couple of years adding electric buses to our fleet until by 2035 we should be completely electric. So that's exciting. But one of the most exciting things is a study that we are embarking on in the near future about microtransit. Now, I mentioned earlier, we've got all these great jobs. Well, one of the barriers to filling those jobs may be transportation, but we don't run our buses for third shift people. So you're out of luck if you don't have a vehicle or another way home. So we're looking at the possibility of microbuses. Now, we can't run our buses 24/7 here. We just don't have the population or the money to do it. But microtransit is almost like a city-sponsored Uber system, where we can set up what you would basically kind of use an app on your phone to ask for a ride at certain times. And we can run various locations. We can run them to the factories. We can get people, 2 or 3, 4 people who are going the same direction. So that's something we're looking at, how to make that work in Decatur. So I'm really excited about that. Lacey, who is our new, Lacey Elsie, our new transit director and our new department, she is just doing great things and finding state and federal money to support our bus system. During COVID, we didn't charge for bus rides. I wish we didn't have to at all, because it can be a barrier for some people, but we're working to keep the fares as low as possible and make it more convenient for people to be able to ride. And as far as the Sunday service, I've got a lot of friends who volunteer at Good Sam on Sundays, and they would see a big drop-off on Sundays because buses weren't running. Ever since we started the Sunday service, we've seen a lot more people at Good Sam on Sundays, so I'm glad to know that people are getting fed.
I thought the mayor said she wasn't going to speak much.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry.
I think she looked at my sheet. Took my speaking points. But just to add to what she has said, the other thing that I am supporting, and I've been talking to our bus transportation individuals about, and managers, is that we really need also some bus service to support seniors and the disabled and the low income for medical appointments. So I'm working with them, trying to get them to include that in the projects that's coming on board. That we'll have some services that we'll be provided to the bus company to help individuals get to medical appointments and from medical appointments. In our senior population, we have a large senior population here in Decatur. Along with that, if you fly into Decatur at night, you have absolutely no way to get home. If you don't have somebody picking you up, you don't have any public transportation to get from the airport. So along with those lines of thoughts, we're asking them to look at that as well, to try to incorporate something within our airports arrangements where they could have somebody out there, and when flights are coming in, to help transport individuals from the airport to our hotels or whatever. If we don't have transportation for them, then they may not come into Decatur, and we don't want to lose our beautiful airport.
Thank you. Yeah, our bus system is phenomenal, as has been alluded to by several individuals here, though I would think that many members of our community still think that there's a lot of room for improvement in other areas. You know, obviously, as the Mayor alluded to, when the population is declining and investment's declining, obviously public transportation is usually one of the first things that's on the chopping block, so to speak. So, you know, we don't have a population that's large enough or a geographic footprint large enough to do, you know, trains or subways, things of that nature there. And obviously it's very costly as well. So I think we kind of have to look at other avenues in which we can do that. I think people have spoken quite a bit about buses, so I'll take a different approach. You know, active transportation is a big thing throughout the state of Illinois, especially in smaller communities, ways to get around town that are not, you know, based upon a car or based upon a bus. Because obviously the city of Decatur, as we all know, is a very car-based city. You don't have your own vehicle. You don't have a regular transportation service to taking places. It's kind of difficult to meet your basic needs, especially if you're someone that's living below the poverty line. But active transportation, you know, bikes, walking, those are big things there in other communities, and I think that's something that we need to spend more time, energy, and effort doing so. I know we are currently right now with the Great Streets, Great Neighborhood Initiative with Jasper Street. I've been in these meetings, and that's one of the things they're talking about frequently is, you know, active transportation, means of other things, making sidewalks larger and safer. A lot of the sidewalks in the city of Decatur are small and are close to narrow and small and are close to high traffic areas that people don't get a sense of safety that wouldn't want to, for instance, walk a child in a stroller down, things of that nature there. These are the things we have to look at. They may be small, they may be simple, but they do have a long-lasting effect, and they're also much more cost-effective than trying to build a subway system underground, things like that. And that's not where we're at currently. Hopefully that's eventually where we can be, but we have to kind of look at things that we can tangibly get to at this current point in time. So I would love to see, I don't want to say the expansion of bike lanes because that can be difficult too in certain regards, but I want to see just a more functional means of active transportation that works cooperatively with our transportation system. And I also like electric buses too. I'd love to see them fully solar so that we can continue putting a green foot forward. I know that's a big situation in the state of Illinois right now.
All right, well,